Alright guys, welcome back to another DFFOO video where we are going to talk about the Emperor and Celes, two upcoming characters that are going to be getting small reworks. The Emperor is also going to be getting his BT weapon, and then Celes is going to be getting her LD weapon. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about the small changes that they both receive, and of course their brand new weapons that they are going to be getting. So as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, as we are getting on the road to 2,000 subscribers. And so far we have been doing fantastic, and I just want to thank everybody once again for the awesome support. Let's go ahead and jump into it, and let's talk about the Emperor and Celes. So with the Emperor, he got a few little changes here and there with his skill 1 and his skill 2. Now with his skill 1, he got an additional use count of +1, and whenever you are using his Beckoning Blast and Flare combo, the overflow has been increased from 120% to 150%, and the total braid potency has been increased from 100% to 200%, and it lowers the action delay by 8. Now, if we look into his skill 2, the Thunder Crest ability, he actually gains an extra 2 uses on that, and then whenever you are using the Thunder Crest ability, it also lowers the action delay by 8. Now with Emperor's LD weapon, he does get his LD boards and his LD extension. Now, whenever you use his LD ability, it triggers the debuff Thundercrest, Beck, Blast, and Drury Cell, which is a 3-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus single target HP attack, followed by a 5-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus single target HP attack. The Brave damage dealt is increased by 60% when attacking a single target, with overflow up to 195% of his max brave, and it deals 50% splash damage to other targets, and it also gives him a 16-turn buff called the Measure of Conquest. Now the Measure of Conquest, it raises his attack by 40%, originally it was at 20%, and his initial brave by 80%. It increases the stolen brave overflow limit by 20%, and restores brave by 40% of the initial brave, and his own brave will not drop below 10% of his max brave. Now with his BT weapon, which is called Absolute Dominion, it is a 15-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus full AoE HP attack with an increase of 60% when attacking a single target. All targets will receive a 1-turn debuff called the Thorns of Repentance. The max brave damage limit is increased up to 11,998, with the max HP damage limit increased to 179,998. For the burst effect, it is a 4-turn burst effect, and it is a party-wide burst effect. Brave damage dealt is increased by 20%, maximum brave damage limit is increased by 20% or up to 11,998. The brave damage dealt to debuff targets is increased by 30%. So when you look at that, with the increase of brave damage dealt, and if the enemies are debuffed, and there was no set amount of debuffs you need to have on the enemy, they just need to be debuffed, so 1 debuff is enough, you will technically be getting a 50% brave damage increase to targets as long as they are debuffed. If not, then you're just going to be doing the 20%. Finally, you're also getting a 30% HP damage dealt up to debuff targets, which is pretty nutty to have. Now, with that debuff that I mentioned earlier on his BT, the Thorns of Repentance, it triggers a trap action upon expiration, and the trap is a 5-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus full AoE HP attack. It ignores defense, stolen brave overflow is at 120% of his max brave, and it increases his own brave by 10% of the total HP damage dealt, and it also delays all targets by 1 turn, and it cannot initiate chase. So overall, my thoughts on Emperor, with his LD boards is definitely helping him a lot. The big thing about it is that now he has that nice initial brave from his Measure of Conquest, which will help him out in dealing some damage. But here's my thing though, because I have used Emperor a few times, and my thing about him though is I feel like that initial brave is not enough. And I say that because of the constant attacks the traps, the triggering of traps, which if you don't know, if you use this EX weapon and the debuffs, the trap debuffs are on the enemy, you can just use your HP attack, excuse me, and it will trigger those traps and it will delay the enemies by 1. So I feel like with those constant trap attacks, I feel like an extra amount of initial brave would have definitely helped them a lot. I feel like spears might also help him in trying to increase his initial brave a little bit, but with his spears being at what is it, 1 A slot and 2 E slots, it's I feel like it might be a little bit difficult to try to get that up, or to try to boost up his initial brave to help him deal that extra damage with his LD ability, and you know, the traps and everything like that, so on and so forth. The nice thing though about him is that whenever you do use him, if you use his BT weapon, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna have at least 1 debuff on him. If you have traps on him, then you can easily get that boost from that burst wide effect. Now, I feel like to try to take advantage of that, extra brave damage that you're dealing, it's best to try to combine him with, like, say, somebody like Cryo. Cryo, with her EX ability, really helps him out because of that brave that is basically regenning for 5 actions. It will help him a lot during his burst phase, because you will be doing some top tier damage with Cryo alongside with him. Other than that though, I mean, anybody who is able to provide some type of brave to him would really help him out a lot. Emperor with Celes is actually a pretty nasty combo as well, especially in the burst phase, because I mean, obviously you're launching them at the same time that you're doing all of that massive damage, so you're technically getting back some brave from Celes' ability, because if Celes goes right after Emperor, then with Celes' ability he will be giving back brave to the party, including Emperor, so that'll also help him out a little bit in terms of damage. But overall though, I mean, he's not that bad of a BT unit. I personally have not really used them that often, so he's not a character that I'm like too crazy about. I know some people are I can't say everybody, but some people are excited for him, excited for his BT weapon and everything. I personally am not. I mean, if there's a free pull and I get it, sure, but I'm not gonna be chasing after his burst, because I mean, don't get me wrong, he is a pretty good damage dealer with his traps and everything like that, but I feel like you need to kind of give him a very strong support character to try to help him out with his damage. Anything with like the ability to increase initial brave would definitely help him out a whole lot, and then you can easily take advantage of that and deal some serious damage with Emperor. But overall though, I mean, in my opinion, if you have not gotten his kit, his LD is just fine. I think with his LD, especially now that he will get LD boards, LD extension, etc., he will, in my opinion, he will do just fine. But if you do get the BT, I mean, that's great, because you get that extra brave damage, especially when they are debuffed. Then it's gonna be a very nasty, it's gonna be a nasty combo, let's just say that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Emperor. Let's switch over to Celes. Now with Celes, she did also get a small rework, nothing too crazy, but a lot of what she got, especially now with her LD, really helps her out and makes her very much viable in party comms because of like the extra stuff that she actually got. So with her skill 1, Shine Edge Extend, she got an extra 2 uses, now totaling up to 3. When using Shine Edge, it recovers the party's HP by 80% of the HP damage dealt with a limit of 25%, and all enemies do get a 4-turn debuff of the ice resist down, so she is able to imperil. The Runic Extend, which is a skill 2, whenever you are using Runic, the total brave hit was increased from 1 to 2, and the magic brave absorb effects do kick in, with herself getting a 30% physical attack up, and the party gets a 20% ice enchant, and a 30% HP damage resist, which is very, very good. So basically you have another option aside from Onion Knight to provide enchant / impel for your party, and that is a really big thing with Celes right there. That really helps her out in being in different types of team cons, which is one of the reasons why I am pulling for her. Now, for her LD weapon, her LD weapon is perfect for her in my opinion, because it is a 3-hit AoE Ice Magic Brave attack plus split HP attack. It increases the own Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt. It is an 8-hit AoE Ice Magic Brave attack plus split HP attack, with the Brave damage increased by 60% when attacking a single target, and the stolen Brave may exceed the max Brave by 230%. It recovers the party's HP by 50% of the HP damage dealt with a limit of 35%, and it increases the party's Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt. All targets will once again get the ice resist down for 4 turns after her first HP attack. So I guess there's one thing I forgot to mention, that this is a double HP dump. So you do the 3 hits, which will put on that ice resist down, and then followed by that 8-hit AoE attack as well. All targets also receive a 6-turn frame debuff called the Magic Ice Block and a 4-turn lock. And she also gets a Magic Brave Absorb, which the duration gets extended by +2 and the level starts at +2. With the Magic Ice Block frame debuff on the enemies, it increases the Brave damage taken by 20%, and it also triggers a follow-up attack after the afflicted target's turn. So whenever the enemies move, they will get attacked by Celeste's counter, basically. It increases the caster's Brave by 100% of initial Brave, so Celes. It is a 3-hit Ice Magic Brave attack plus HP attack. It recovers the party's HP by 20% of the HP damage with a limit of 10%. And it increases the party's Brave by 20% of the HP damage, and it cannot initiate chase. So, I mean, what else can you ask for with Celes? Like, Celes really got a good amount. She's able to enchant / impel. She now has a follow-up whenever the enemies attack, which will be providing a good amount of Brave it'll provide Brave and HP to your party. She really gives a lot, and as you can see by the little side notes, I mean, to herself, she has Last Stand, HP damage limit increased 10%, and physical damage taken minus 30%, initial Brave regen 100%. As you can see, that like there's a lot to it with Celes now. Celes has really become a very strong magical tank, and now that she has follow-ups, she is solid in my opinion, which is why I am definitely going to be pulling for Celeste's LD weapon. And I believe I also need her EX because I don't have her EX yet. So I will be pulling for Celes myself because she is actually a very good character and one to not look over because, you know, as a tank, I mean, come on, who doesn't use tank nowadays? Unless you're going to full DPS type of a party, then, you know, I can understand that. But for me, I love my tanks because of what they do and what they provide to party comps. So overall, between both these two characters, I think the one that shines out to me at least is definitely going to be Celes with her LD ability and the small rework that she got. For me, myself personally, I like to go for those supporter type characters and also the tanking type of characters, and Celes is definitely going to be my top choice because of what she does. She also is another character that does provide the enchant / impel, and she provides follow-ups whenever the enemy does any type of attack. Now with Emperor though, I mean, the thing that makes him extra good now is the fact that he will now get LD boards, LD extension, and he also gets a burst weapon. The burst weapon is like a big bonus, especially if you are looking to do some very high damage numbers. Then the BT weapon will probably be a choice for you to snag if you do have the resources available. But one thing to note is that after the Emperor, the next burst user that will be coming up to global will be Yustola, and Yustola is, in my opinion, one of a very solid top tier support unit, and we already know now that JP is in the BT Plus era that she becomes an extremely solid BT plus support character. So you got to keep that in mind as well, because with not only Yustola coming up, but there are also other characters coming up later this month or in the month of April that a lot of players might or may not be looking out for. So keep that in mind whenever you look at these two characters that are coming up here very, very soon. But overall, if you need a strong DPS, magic DPS user, you can go for Emperor. If you want a tank, a magical tank that now provides follow-ups and enchant/impel, you can go for Celes. But other than that though, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, if you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.